What if I told you you could fit a king-size bed and a dedicated home cinema in a tiny house without losing headroom? Sounds impossible? Well, let me show you what I came up with.
Now I can finally start with the framing for loft. Here's gonna be from this point all the way to the front wall or back wall or whatever you call it, main sleeping loft, and then from this bunch of cables to the back wall or front wall, again whatever, there's gonna be secondary loft. So my idea is to put this 80 by 40, which is the same stuff I used for the main framing for the studs.
And basically I'm gonna put them flat as a beam to support loft joists, which is gonna be 50 by 50 mil hollow structural steel, and you'll see it just in a minute.
And I believe it's gonna be plenty strong for me and my fat ass.
So I started installing them. Pretty straightforward. I double checked the height so the loft will be as flat and level as possible. This is gonna be the main loft where it's gonna be my bedroom and a closet. I used a combination of structural screws and nails. One screw and one nail to each and every stud. Probably overkill, but better safe than sorry here, as there's gonna be a reasonable amount of both dead and live load. If you know what I mean. With beams for the main loft done, I started with the secondary loft. And yes, I carefully notched out not only the strapping, but even these beams, so the cables have their path to go through without sacrificing strength of the beams. A lot of people say that if you go tiny, you have to downsize, become a minimalist and give up your hobbies. I don't buy that. I want this house to have it all. My drum kit, guitars, even a home cinema. Yep, you heard it right. A drum kit and dedicated movie room. And somehow without almost no major compromises. And if you thought I was cluttered with stuff, don't worry, I brought more.
I got stuff for the lofts here. HSS hollow structural steel profiles are here. These are basically joists, and then 25 mil tongue and groove OSB. This is gonna be subfloor. I already cut them to length with angle grinder and drilled these holes for lag screws. Obviously they're gonna hold them in place. And I test fitted this one piece here because one thing is SketchUp model and the second one is real life experience, and I think this might work just fine. I'm 6'5" and it's pretty much okay. No, I'm not 6'5", I'm just kidding. Okay, and this is gonna be the subfloor and the ceiling as well, double purpose. Not too bad, huh? And I can finally move on and build the lofts, so I'll have way more storage to put all this garbage up there, because I'm still gonna need these OSBs and some of the insulation, and I don't wanna move it like back and forth, so I decided I'll keep it here until I won't need it anymore. And then I'll build a wall that's gonna separate bathroom from the rest of the house. And I think that's gonna be finally a change I've been waiting for, because I've been stuck in this box for what feels like forever. So there's finally gonna be some change.
The next day I started with prep work on the joists. They spent some time outside on the weather, so they were a little bit dirty, even with some surface rust here and there. So I sanded them down properly.
It's finally nice and smooth, no rust whatsoever. Now, degrease, base coat. So I got it painted. I cut myself pretty badly on the edge here, and I made a mess again. I have no idea how the fuck I knocked the can over. It's the next day, the paint is finally dry, and first I didn't think it through. Once there's the HSS, I won't be able to screw it from the top, so I need to remove this first. And this is gonna be interesting because I used mostly nails. Here's screws and the rest of it is nails, I think. I'm gonna start from this side, as there's only one nail here. The corner is free to go, and just work my way to the front. I call it a success. Now let's do the other side.
Now for the joist installation. It was really smooth to get them in their position, and here's why. I triple checked the length of every joist individually, as the wall is not 100% straight. I cut them shorter, about 1 cm or 3/8 from the actual clearance, because I didn't want to fight them in the place and damage the vapor barrier, and at the same time wanted to have as much surface of the joists on the beams as possible.
Let's test the loft height. Not too bad. I'm in the lower part. This side is 10 centimeters higher, and I can sit here no problem. This OSB looks pretty cool. There's actually dirt from sanding. Anyway, let's try to attach it. I drilled these holes. It's all the way through, so the leg screw is gonna go like this. I already tried on a piece of scrap without pre-drilling, and it didn't split, so I think it's good to go. Of course, I checked that it's on its layout marks and it's centered this way, so the gaps are the same on both sides. Okay, here goes nothing. All the joists are installed except for this one. I stripped it. I won't be able to use this hole. There is the rest of the screw.
So I used this steel strap instead.
So I put the straps back on, and now let's do the same on the other side.
Again, I removed the strapping first, marked the layout, put the joists in place, attached them and reinstalled the strapping back in. I was so excited about the progress and that beautiful sunset that I almost forgot to do one step, and I started with cheating instead. That step is a vapor barrier in the bathroom. Yes, the OSB, and especially in this thickness of 25 mils or 1 inch, is already a very efficient vapor retardant, which means it slows the vapor down, but it does not stop it completely. There will be my bed and a closet right about the bathroom, so I decided to put this simple layer of plastic to stop the moisture and prevent it to soak into my mattress and clothing. Makes sense, right? And if you're wondering why there's such a big gap between the joists and why the OSBs break pretty much on nothing, don't worry. There's gonna be the bathroom wall I mentioned earlier in this exact spot. So not only it will divide the space, but support the loft from underneath as well. I'm really glad my guesstimations and ChatGPT math worked. The loft feels really solid, and I mean it. You literally can't feel any flexing whatsoever. And that's exactly why I decided to go with steel joists instead of lumber. Because the ratio of strength to size to weight to cost to labor seems like the best choice to me. And that's how I pretty much doubled the usable space in my tiny house. The last step was attaching the subfloor to the joists, which turned out to be much easier said than done.
It was surprisingly good.
These first two screws were actually the only ones that went in without pre-drilling.
Well, I think I was too excited too soon. I'll have to pre-drill some of the holes, if not all of them.
Yep, all of them. I bought self-tapping screws, but the steel joists are 3 mil thick, which is apparently beyond what these screws can handle. Even though it's just a few seconds in the video, it took me like 3 to 4 hours to pre-drill all the holes. I wish everything was as simple as it looks on YouTube. Finally, I put the lofts to their first use as temporary storage, so I could clear the space for the next steps, which you'll see in the next episode. Well, if you're subscribed, thanks for watching Self-Powered. My name is Marek and I'll see you next time.